Oh, okay, we'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam तथो जयमुद्धीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So we'll start the class today. So today it is the prayers of the demigods. Okay. So this is in context with Lord Krishna's appearance. Okay. So this is actually the prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna, okay, when he was in the womb, right? So in here, Mataji, you did ask once, right? So about Rohini, and then how was Baldev born and all, right? So this gives you a lot of information about those things, yeah. So whatever you are asking in, right? So basically, if you look in this chapter, right? So what happens is we know, right? So Devaki is in prison, and Kamsa is awaiting for the seventh child, right? So wherein because who is going to kill him, right? So he knows that that's the one who will actually kill him, right? So in here, right? So basically, Kamsa killed Shadgarbhas, right? The six sons of Devaki, one after another. Okay. And then Anantadeva entered Devaki's womb and was transferred to the womb of Rohini by manipulation of Yogamaya. So Yogamaya was being instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Lord said that because Yogamaya was also a little bit bewildered whether I can do this task, because on the other hand it was Anantadeva, right? So who's nothing but Balram. Yeah? So she was thinking, how can I do it? Yeah. But the Lord blessed her, and then he said that go ahead. So whenever we have the blessings of the Lord, right? So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives us the task, and then he says us to go ahead, right? So then he'll surely help us, and then that mission would be accomplished. Yeah. So Yogamaya appeared simultaneously as brother and sister. The world is full of Vaishnavas and Saktas. So here, if, if you look in it, so we'll just go in the purports text. Okay. So here it is. If you look in it, here the Lord ordered Yogamaya, O my potency. So that's also Lord's potential, right? Who are worshipable for the entire world and whose nature is to bestow good fortune upon all living entities. Go to Raja, where there live many cowherd men and their wives. In that very beautiful land where many cows reside, Rohini, the wife of Vasudeva, is living at the home of Nanda Maharaj. So she was in the custody of Nanda Maharaj, right? Vasudeva actually sent her Rohini to. in the to be with Nand Maharaj, so that she'll be safe. So other wives of Vasudeva were also living there incognito. So because things were very bad, right? They didn't knew when Kamsa could come and attack. Okay. So because of the fear of Kamsa, the Lord ordered to go to Nandagaon. Yeah. Within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Shesha, Ananta Shesh. Yeah. So which is nothing but the expansion, the first expansion of the Lord. Without difficulty transfer him into the womb of Rohini. Right. The first plenary expansion of Krishna is Baldeva, or also known as Ananta Shesh. Yeah. The Shesh incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead supports the entire universe. Okay. And the eternal mother of his incarnation is Mother Rohini. Because I am going into the womb of Devaki, the Lord told Yogamaya, the Sesha incarnation has already gone there and made suitable arrangements so that I may live there. Now, he should enter the womb of Rohini, his eternal mother. Okay. And then, so Yogamaya does this, yeah? Yeah. And then, so this question might arise for everyone, right? What was this 6 children who were killed, right? So symbolically, Mother Devaki's constant fear for Kamsa was purifying her. Okay. A pure devotee should always fear material association, and in this way, all the asuras of material association will be killed. Okay. As the Garbhasuras were killed by Kamsa, it is said that from the mind, Marichi appears. Okay. In other words, Marichi is an incarnation of the mind. Marichi has 6 sons: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. So it's nothing but lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. So these were something which were killed. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in pure devotional service. Okay. So all auspicious, all auspicious Yogamaya, I shall then appear with my full 6 opulences as the son of Devaki, and you will appear as the daughter of Mother Yashoda, the queen of Maharaj Nanda. Okay. But her span is very less. Yeah? And then he says that what will happen? Okay. He says that by sacrifice of animals, ordinary human beings will worship you gorgeously to Yogamaya. Yeah, which is nothing but Mahamaya. Yeah, here with various paraphernalia because you are supreme in fulfilling the various desires. Yeah? So now he says that Lord Krishna blessed Mayadev by saying in different places on the surface of earth, people will give you different names such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, yeah, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Nishani, Sarada, and Ambika. So this is, so Maya Devi is nothing but Durga Devi, right? So same, you both are same, yeah. So and then why they are called so, right? So it's all mentioned here. Yeah? So why Vaishnavi? Because she is one of the different energies of Vishnu, hence she'll be known as Vaishnavi. Okay. And because she gives all sorts of material facilities, she is called Krishna. Okay. So all these things, if you go through that, right, you'll get. The son of Rohini will also be celebrated as Sankarshana because of being sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He'll be called Rama because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokula. So, and he'll be called as Baladev also. He'll be called as Balbhadra because of his excessive physical strength. So this is all written, right? So before the child is born, right? So everything has been Shastra clearly mentions, yeah. Thus instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya immediately agreed with the Vedic mantra Om. She confirmed that she would do what he asked. Thus, having accepted the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead, she circumambulated him and started for the place on earth known as Nanda Gokula. There she did everything just as she had been told. Yeah. So Yogamaya did. So this is now science is trying to catch up all those things. But you see, at that time, so all these things happened. So transfer of child from one womb to the other, right? When the child of Devaki was attracted and transferred into the womb of Rohini by Yogamaya, Devaki seemed to have a miscarriage. Thus, all inhabitants of the place loudly lamented, "Alas, Devaki has lost her child." But yeah, so Yogamaya then informed her, "Oh, auspicious lady, your child is now being replaced. I am attracting child from the womb of Devaki, and therefore your child will be known as Sankarshna." See, Yogamaya informs her, so don't worry. So it's nothing but I am moving. Yeah. While carrying the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of his heart, Vasudeva bore the Lord's transcendental effulgence, and thus he became as bright as the sun. He was therefore very difficult to see approach through sensory perception. Indeed, he was unapproachable and unperceivable even for such formidable men as Kamsa, and not only for Kamsa, but for all living entities. Yeah. So here, this is you'll have to know that the Lord, right? So he is not born as the normal material way of uh, the way the childs are born in materially, right? So Lord was not born in that. So here, if you see, right, although unborn, the Lord is decided. Although unborn, the Lord, the Master of everything, appears like a born child by entering the mind of a devotee. So he entered into the mind of the devotee, right? So the Lord is already there within the mind, and consequently, it is not astonishing for him to appear as if he was born from a devotee body. Okay. The word Avishesha signifies that the Lord appeared within the mind of Vasudeva. There was no need for a discharge of semen. That is the opinion of Srila Sridhar Swami and Srila Vishwanath Thakur. Okay. So he was actually transferred from Vasudeva's mind to Devaki's mind, yeah, heart. You see, thereafter accomplishing plenary expansion, the fully opulent Supreme Lord, God, personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki. Devaki, having thus being initiated by Vasudeva, become beautiful. So wherever the Lord was entering, right? So the other person was becoming effulgent. The original consciousness for everyone, the cause of all causes within the core of her heart, just as East becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon. Yeah. Devaki then kept within herself the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the foundation of entire cosmos. But because she was under arrest in Kamsa, she was like the flame of a fire covered by the walls of a pot. Okay. So because the personality of Godhead was within a room, Devaki illuminated the atmosphere. Okay, so this is the same thing only. So because there was a lot of effulgence and then they couldn't understand. So then Kamsa was puzzled. What is my duty? The Supreme Lord who knows his purpose will not give up his prowess. Devaki is a woman, she is my sister, and moreover, she is now pregnant. If I kill her, my reputation, opulence, and duration of life will certainly be vanquished because he is a Kshatriya, right? He cannot do that. So he's thinking what to do now. Yeah. A person who is very cruel is regarded as dead even while living, for while he is living or after his death. Everyone condemns him. And after the death of a person in the bodily concept of life, he is undoubtedly transferred to hell. So this is all going in the mind of Kamsa. So what do I do now? Eh? Sukadev Goswami said, deliberating in this way, Kamsa, although determined to continue in enmity towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, refrained from the vicious killing of his sister. He decided to wait until the Lord was born and then do what was needed. So, though he was cruel, so he couldn't take that step of killing his sister when she was pregnant. While sitting on his throne or sitting in his room, so this is what Kamsa was always thinking of the Lord in a negative way, unfavorable way. eh, but he was having so that consciousness. So then the from here on it starts the prayers. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada, Devala, and Vyasa, and by other demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna, invisibly approached the room of Devaki, where they all joined in offering their respectful obeisances and prayers to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can bestow blessings upon everyone. So, when the Lord appears, so all the paraphernalia will be there, yeah. All the entourage will be there. Yeah. So, everyone came. So, we'll read this part. सत्यव्रतं सत्यपरं त्रिसत्यं सत्यस्य योनिं निहितं च सत्ये सत्यस्य सत्यं रतसत्यनेत्रं सत्यात्मकं त्वं शरणं प्रपन्न. Satyavratam, the personality of Godhead who never deviates from his vow. Okay. Satyaparam, who is the absolute truth, as stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Trisatyam, he is always present as the absolute truth before the creation of this cosmic manifestation, during its maintenance, and even after its annihilation. Satyasya, of all relative truths, which are emanations from the absolute truth. Krishna, Yonim, the cause, Nihitam, entered, Cha, Satya, in the factors that create this material world, namely the five elements earth, water, fire, and ether. Satyasya, of all that is accepted as truth. Satyam, the Lord is originally truth. Rata Satyam Netram, he is the original of whatever truth is pleasing. Sunetram, Satya Atmakam, everything pertaining to the Lord is truth, Sachitananda. Yeah, so he is Sachit and Anand. Tvam, unto you, Sharanam, offering our full surrender, Prapanna. We are completely under your protection. The demigods prayed, "O Lord, you never deviate from your vow." Okay, so whatever vow the Lord takes, so he never deviates, which is always perfect because whatever you decide is perfectly correct. Okay, because he is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? How can he be incorrect? And cannot be stopped by anyone. So if he decides, Mare Krishna Rake Krishna Mare ke, right? So that's a famous saying in Bengali. Being present in the three phases of cosmic manifestation, creation, maintenance, and annihilation. You are the supreme truth. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor. So, though the Lord is present, everyone cannot enjoy his pastimes. So, we should be pure enough, and then we should have his mercy, which therefore cannot be achieved by hypocrites. So, You are the active principle, the real truth in all the ingredients of creation, and therefore you are known as Antaryami. Okay. The inner force. You are equal to everyone, and your instructions apply for everyone. So he's not partial. So though there are atheists, there are Gyanis, Karmis, Bhaktas, he is equal to everyone. So he never shows any partiality. But yes, only one thing is, for pure bhaktas, he get purchased. So that's one in so many millions. Yeah. So that's very difficult. So like the gopis and all, right? So not to the ordinary devotees. So we are the beginning of all truth. Therefore, offering our obeisances, we surrender unto you. Kindly give us protection. So they are all praying, right? So if you see, so many times they have said Satya, right? So Mataji, this purport we'll have to read through, yeah? So can you read this? This is important.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. The demigods or devotees know perfectly well the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the true substance, whether within this material world or in the spiritual world. Srimad Bhagavatam begins, therefore, with the words of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Satyam Param Dhimahi. Vasudeva Krishna is the Param Satyam, the Supreme Truth. The Supreme Truth can be approached or understood by the Supreme methods as declared by the Supreme Truth, Bhaktya Mam Abhigyanati Yavan Yas Yasa Chashmi Tatvatah. Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Bhakti, devotional service, is the only way to understand the absolute truth. For protection, therefore, the demigods surrender to the supreme truth, not to the relative truth. There, there are persons who worship various demigods, but the supreme truth, Krishna, declares in Bhagavad Gita 7.23, Antavat tu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpa medasham. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Worship of demigods may be useful for a limited time, but the result is antavat, perishable. This material world is impermanent, the demigods are impermanent, and the benedictions derived from the demigods are also impermanent, whereas a living entity is eternal. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. Every living entity, therefore, must search for eternal happiness, not temporary happiness. The word Satyam Param Dhimahi indicate that one should search for the absolute truth, not the relative truth. While
Okay.
offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narsimhadeva, Prahlad Maharaj said,
Yeah, we'll just take a small pause, Mataji, and then we'll continue. Yeah? So here, so the devatas, right? They knew perfectly that what is the true substance. Yeah, and here, right? So they are referring to the Param Satyam. Is nothing but the Vasudeva, right? Or Krishna. Right? And then here, even the supreme truth can be approached only through bhakti, right? So this is there in 18.55. So before the Sarvadharman Paritajya, right? So this is nothing but bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yasyasmi tatvata, right? So Lord says that I am known, or so I am known only to the bhaktas, right? So there is no other way. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. So only through devotional service you can understand the absolute truth. Yeah? And then here also, right? So it says alpa medesham is nothing but basically now in the society, right? So everyone wants faster results. Yeah. And even the process in the Vedas also, right? So because nobody reads the Vedas end to end. So if you read the Vedas end to end, then you'll know that the absolute such is nothing but the Lord, right? But what happens is people tend to read a portion of it, so which is whichever is required, right? And then they start worshipping. Say like somebody is interested in good fortune, or somebody wants money, right? They got to go to Lord Lakshmi, and then somebody wants good health, then they go to the they worship the sun god, right? So like this, there is a list in Bhagavatam itself. There is a list of devatas who can actually give the benedictions. So those are all temporary results, yeah, because they'll never be permanent, right? So you take any of the examples, right? So whatever benedictions have been given, right? So think of the benediction which he got in. Who? Hiranyakashipu and Ravana. So will we get those benedictions? So they had the highest level of benedictions, right? So Hiranyakashipu, it's an impossible thing. He actually asked Brahma so intelligently that he wanted to live forever, right? But that also didn't last. Eh? So that's the thing. So while offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narasimhadev, Prahlad Maharaj said, Balishya Neha Sharanam Pitro Narsimha Netrasya Chagadam Udanvanti Majato now. Generally, it is understood that the protector for a child are his parents, but it is not actually the fact. The real protector is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He says that. Yeah. So, this is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Yeah. So, in his childhood, he had so much of understanding. Yeah. So, this is Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagavatam 7.9.19. Yeah. Taptasya tat pratividhi ye ihanjasthas Tadvibhutan tanubhritam tvad upekshitanam. If neglected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a child, despite the presence of his parents, will suffer. Okay. So this is all Prahlad Maharaj who is saying. And a diseased person, despite all medical help, will die. So for everything, we need the mercy of the Lord. In this material world where there is struggle for existence, men have invented many means for protection, but these are useless if the Supreme Personality of Godhead rejects them. Therefore, the demigods purposefully say, Satyatmakam Tvam Sharanam Prapannam. Real protection can be obtained from you, O Lord, and therefore we surrender unto you. So without the mercy of the Lord, nothing happens. A blade of glass also doesn't move. Okay, Mataji, you can continue from here.
Yes, Prabhuji. The Lord demands that one surrender unto him, Sarva Dharman Parityagya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. And he further says, Shakrada Iva Prapanno Yash Tava Smiti Cha Yachate Abhiyam Sarvada Tasmai Dadami Itad Vratam Mama. If one surrenders unto me sincerely, saying, My Lord, from this day I am fully surrendered unto you, I always give him protection. That is my vow. Ramayana, Ramayana Yuddha Kanda 18.33. The demigods offered their prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he had now appeared in the womb of his devotee Devki to protect all devotees harassed by Kamsa and his lieutenants. Thus, the Lord acts as Satyavrata. The protection given by Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be compared to the protection given by the demigods. It is said that Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, but when Lord Ramchandra went to kill him, Lord Shiva could not give him protection. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada, and followed by many other demigods, had now invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select prayers, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of the devotional desires. The first words they spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to his vow. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends upon this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. The demigods could understand that the Lord had taken his residence within the womb of Devaki to fulfill his vow. They were very glad that the Lord was appearing to fulfill his mission, and they addressed him as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is a philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the supreme absolute truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain this absolute truth. Krishna is the absolute truth. Relative truth is not truth in all the three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is the truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by the supreme time in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing, and when there is a creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of opulence is Krishna. If there is any reputation within this material world, the cause of the reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within the material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths.
Hare
Thank
Krishna Mathis. There is still, but we'll take a pause and then go through these things. Yeah. So whatever we covered, right? So here, if you look right, the details. So whatever I said, right? Rake Krishna Marike, Mare Krishna Rakeke. It means that if Krishna wants to save someone, right? So nobody can stop him. And then if he wants to kill someone, nobody can stop him. So it's all based on his mercy. Yeah? So even if any of the benedictions were given by uh, Brahma or Shiva also, right? So those things, if they are counter, they are actually doing wrong things, right? So if they're being used wrongly, and if the devotees are being tortured, right? So then the Lord appears and then he vanquishes them. Yeah. So everyone, so all the devtas, right? So they came into the Kamsa's prison and then they prayed that these are all their prayers, yeah? And then they wanted that the Lord should appear. And then they knew that whatever is there, right? Even the Lord says, right? Aham sarvasa prabhavo, mat sarvam pravartate, right? So everything is emanating from me, right? And then the Lord knows the past, present, and future. We know in the Vishwarupa, right? So he could show the future. And then he did say to Arjuna that in chapter 4, so he did teach Vivaswan, right? So the sun god, which which was very old, right? And then he says that the parampara, so in the flow of time, right? So the Bhagavad Gita teachings were faded out. So hence I am actually again teaching this to you. Right? So Arjuna does didn't remember his past, but the Lord said that I remember the past, present, and future. Okay. So devotees therefore follow in the footsteps of Lord Brahma. Pray Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Worship the Adi Purusha, the Supreme Truth, Govinda. Everything everywhere is performed in terms of three principles. Jnana Bala Kriya, knowledge, strength, and activity. In every field, if there is not full knowledge, full strength, and full activity, an endeavor is never successful. If you don't have these three things, right, nothing is successful. Therefore, if one wants success in everything, one must be backed up with the three principles. In the Vedas, there is a statement about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, na tat samas chabdyate kascha drishyate, parashaya shaktir vividvai shruyate, sabhavika jnana bala kriya cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not need to do anything personally, for he has such potencies that anything he wants will be done perfectly well through the control of material nature. Because material nature is his own potency. And then whatever the Lord instructs, the material energy does. Similarly, those who are engaged in the service of the Lord are not meant to struggle for existence. The devotees who are fully engaged in spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, more than 10,000 men and women all over the world have no steady or permanent occupation. Yet, we actually see that they are maintained very opulently. So, whosoever is dependent on Krishna, right? So, Krishna takes care of it. So, if you look in the devotees who live in the temple and all, right? So, they're fully surrendered to the Lord. And then the Lord takes care of them, right? So, they're all well educated, and then they have left their profession. Someone is an engineer, someone is an IIT, and someone is a doctor. They have left their all profession, and then they don't worry that who will maintain me. So next month, what will happen? The Lord takes care of him. This has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.22. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana pariyupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yoga shemam vahamyam. The Lord says, Ananyas chintayanto mam, whosoever thinks of me, the pure devotees, right? Nityabhyuktanam, so every time I take care of them. Yoga Shemam Vahamyam. For those who worship me with devotion and meditating on my transcendental form, I carry to them what they lack and preserve them what they have. So he helps them if something is missing. But the only thing is they should have devotion and meditate. The devotees have no anxiety over what will happen next, where they will stay or what they will eat. For everything is maintained and supplied by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who promised Kantiya Pratijane Name Bhaktya Pranashanti. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotees never perishes. From all angles of vision, therefore, in all circumstances, if one fully surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no question of one struggling for existence. In this connection, the commentary of Sripad Madhvacharya, who quotes the Tantra Bhagavata, is very meaningful. So we'll just read this.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Explaining the words Satyasya Yonim, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura says that Krishna is the avatari, the origin of all incarnations. All incarnations are the absolute truth, yet the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the origin of all incarnations. Diparchir eva hi dashantaram abhyupetya dipyate Brahma Samhita 5.46. There may be many lamps, all equal in power, yet there is a first lamp, a second lamp, a third lamp, and so on. Similarly, there are many incarnations who are compared to the lamps, but the first lamp, the original personality of Godhead, is Krishna, Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. The demigods must offer worship in obedience to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But one might argue that since the Supreme Godhead was within the womb of Devaki, he was also coming in a material body. Why then should he be worshipped? Why should one make a distinction between an ordinary living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? These questions are answered in the following verses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is a very important purport. So that's the reason we took time, and then rest of the things we'll read through from here. And then wherever there are important ones, we'll again touch base. Yeah? The body, the total body and the individual bodies are same composition, may figuratively be called the original tree. Okay, I think this is more of what our body is made up of. Okay, so there are 6 lamentations, right? And then basically we follow through the 3 modes of material nature, and then the material nature has 2 kinds of fruits. Yeah? Enjoyment of happiness and suffering of distress. This is always there, right? So there is nothing like a person is all only will be happy throughout his life, or there is nothing like that a person would be suffering. This is all based upon the karma, right? So the baggage which we have in, right? And then what the subtle body is made of 5 elements and all those things. Yeah. So he's giving what our human body is made up of. The efficient cause of material world manifested with its many varieties as the original trees is you. Okay, so the original tree, he says that it's the Lord. You are also the maintainer of the world, and after annihilation, you are the one in whom everything is conserved. So we know that this we have seen through many a times, right? So those who are covered by your external energy cannot see you behind this manifestation. This is Mahamaya. But but there is not the vision of learned devotees, but the devotees, for them, this particular curtain is not there. Oh Lord, you are always in full knowledge, and to bring all good fortune to all living entities, you appear in different incarnations. Yeah, so this we know, right? All of them transcendental to the material creation. When you appear in these incarnations, you are pleasing to the pious and religious devotees, but for non-devotees, you are an annihilator, right? So we know that there are different avatars which the Lord has taken, right? So we saw all Dasha avatars, right? So and then every avatar he took to protect the pious, right? And whenever there is an indifference, and whenever the pious people are being tortured, and then when the atheists grow, then the Lord comes in. So, O lotus side, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajanas. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience and easily as one steps over the hoof print of a calf. So, if we hold to the lotus feet of the Lord, okay, so by doing all the sadhanas and all, right, so whatever is prescribed by our Acharya, founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, right, then so we'll be anchored in a boat, so which will help us to cross the ocean of nescience. So this material ocean, the material world is an ocean, so which we cannot cross it by swimming. Yeah, so we need a boat, and then one who follows the footsteps of the great saints, right? So we have all Mahajans, right? Like Bhishma, Prahalad, all those, right? So if you follow them, right? So one can cross this ocean of the whole ocean, we can cross easily as one steps over the hoof print of a calf. So it'll become that simple. But yes, one thing is we'll have to meditate and then focus on the Lord. Yeah. So association of Mahajans, such a person always concentrates his mind on the lotus feet and executes what is that? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So we'll have to follow the Nava with the Bhakti, right? So if we follow any of them properly, then we can move ahead. Yeah, that's what it's been told. O Lord, who resembles the shining sun, you are always ready to fulfill the desire of your devotees, and therefore you are known as the desire tree, Vancha Kalpataro. So, he is the desire tree for the pure devotees. When acharyas completely take shelter under your lotus feet in order to cross the fierce ocean of nescience, they leave behind on earth the method by which they cross. And because you are very merciful to your devotees, you accept this method to help them. So the acharyas actually show us the path, and then we'll have to follow them. So he says that someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at your lotus feet, there are those who are non-devotees. Okay, but you have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and other demigods said, "O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet." So if any Gyanis, Karmis, they want liberation, right? The Lord gives in, but they again fall back. And then after that, they, I- after so many births, right? So they again get to know that bhakti is the ultimate thing, and then they move on. Yeah. See, here also it's been mentioned that for the non-devotees also you still protect them. They do not, okay. If devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall in the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees, for you still protect them. Thus they fearlessly traverse the heads of their opponents and continue to progress in devotional service. So those who are pure devotees, right, the Lord actually takes care of them. So, O Lord, cause of all causes, if your transcendental body were not beyond the modes of material nature, one could not understand the difference between matter and transcendence. So his pastimes or his body, everything is transcendental. Yeah? Janma karma cha divyam. Only your presence can, only by your presence can one understand the transcendental nature of your lordship, who are the controller of material nature. Your transcendental nature is very difficult to understand unless one is influenced by the presence of transcendental mind. So we should have that vision. Yeah. Here again, it's been mentioned. Yeah. Even, O Lord, your transcendental name and fame are not ascertained by those who merely speculate on the path of imagination. So, for the non devotees, the Lord will not be visible. Even while engaged in various activities, devotees whose minds are completely absorbed at your lotus feet and who constantly hear, chant, contemplate, and cause others to remember your transcendental names and forms are always on the transcendental platform, and thus they can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he says this is all the glorification. So wherein they are saying that only the devotees whose minds are completely absorbed, right? So they can actually ha- participate in the transcendental name forms, and then they can contemplate, they can hear. So others can't. Oh Lord, we are fortunate because the heavy burden of the demons upon this earth is immediately removed by your presence. So now they are happy because Kamsa has created so much of fuss, right? So, and then he was not ruling properly. So the burden of the demons was growing like anything because he was always using the demonic forces for everything, right? So the demons had increased much more. Indeed, we are certainly fortunate, for we shall be able to see upon this earth and in the heavenly planets the mark of lotus, conch shell, club, and disc that add on your lotus feet. Yeah, so the Lord has these marks on his lotus feet: a lotus, conch shell, club, disc, and then there are different other marks also, which we can see on the Lord's feet. Yeah, so we know that when the Lord appeared as Krishna, right, he killed so many asuras, right? In his childhood itself, he killed so many demons. O Supreme Lord, you are not only an ordinary living entity appearing in this material world as a result of purative activities, therefore, your appearance or birth in this world has no other cause than your pleasure potency. Similarly, living entities who are part of you have no cause of miseries like birth, death, and old age, except when these living entities are conducted by external energy. So, whosoever takes part, whenever the Lord is here, right? So, for the fallen souls, he comes to actually, first thing is, he comes here to give the pleasure potencies to his devotees. So, along with that, right? So, if there are any fallen souls who are very truthful, right? So, they'll actually get rid of this problem of birth, death, and old age, yeah, and disease. There is one more. O Supreme Controller, your Lordship previously accepted incarnation as fish, a horse, a tortoise, Narsimhadev, a boar, a swan, Lord Ramchandra, Parushuram, and among the demigods, Vamandev, to protect the entire world by your mercy. Now please protect us again. So these were all the incarnations which came before Lord Krishna, right? So we discussed all these things at a length. So now they are saying that please come now because there is diminishing disturbances in this world. So there is a lot of disturbances. So, O Krishna, best of Yadus, we respectfully offer our obeisances unto you. And then they say that, O Mother Devaki, by your good fortune and ours, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself with all His plenary portions, such as Baldev, is now within your womb. Therefore, you need not fear Kamsa, who has decided to be killed by the Lord. Your eternal son Krishna will be protector of the entire Yadu dynasty. So they are actually informing Devaki that this is what has happened and what is going to happen. Yeah. So you need not fear Kamsa anymore because the Supreme Personality is going to come and kill him. After thus offering prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the transcendent, all the demigods with Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva before them returned to their homes in the heavenly planets. So this is what the prayers were. So they were praying for Krishna to appear, yeah, and then they informed Devaki, and then all the demigods returned to their heavenly planets. And then post that we know the Lord appeared, and then what happened? Yeah. All his pastimes. Hare Krishna. So we'll wind up for today's session. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Vancha kalpataropyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavani vaishnavya namo namo. Any questions with related to today's topic? We'll take one or two and then close it.
Yeah, one question, Prabhuji, I had. Like Kamsa was, created so much of crimes, but just because he was thinking of Krishna all the time, he got heavenly abode. So, but then that is not fair, also, no, Prabhuji.
See, he didn't get the heavenly abode. He just got liberation. That's it.
What is,
So,
Prabhuji, what is the difference?
so, so he didn't go to the heavenly planet. So he was he just went he just got into the Brahma Jyoti. That's it. So he'll not get the place of an heavenly planet.
Okay, okay. Mhm. Yeah,
So yeah. S- So he'll be in the effulgence. So like if he does good things, right? So if he practices all bhakti and all, right? So there are chances that he'll be promoted, or else he'll again fall down to the earth back.
yeah. Mm. Okay, okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll wind up today's session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.